humanitarian crisis is brewing in southern Cameroon. It has been on screens, it has been online, it has been on hashtags, there have been petitions. We want to understand the extent of this crisis. We are fortunate to have first-hand evidence from one who has experienced the crisis and who has been at the forefront of finding a solution to the crisis. He is the Vice President of the Cameroon Confederation's trade union, and he is the President for Southern Cameroon. He is Mr. Te Anye Kevin. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Let's understand the extent of damage that has been inflicted on the Southern Cameroon populace by the Cameroonian government.
Before I come to give answers to the extent of the damage, I would like to lay the foundation of the problem that exists in Cameroon, in the Cameroons at the moment, especially in the southern Cameroons. I think the problem goes right from the time of when the end of the First World War in 1916, where Germany was defeated and the Cameroons was split into two separate countries, separate entities, let me put it that way, whereby part was given to French to administer and part of the Cameroons to the English to administer. Thereafter, with the coming of the United Nations, these entities were given to they became United Nations Trust Territories, and they were to be prepared for independence. Looking at this background, there had always been a strive for freedom of every nation. And the people of southern Cameroon are independent people with well-defined boundaries and with indigenous identity. And because of their uniqueness, the union between the French and the French Cameroon and the English Cameroon, the reunion between these two countries after having inherited different cultural identity, whereby the French Cameroon has inherited the French culture and identity during the Trust Territory period, and the English Cameroon has inherited the identity and culture of the British English system. This is the foundation of the problem.
Okay, we'll come back to the foundation of the problem. Let's understand first off the humanitarian issues. Right now, those people suffering, they might not so much as care about what the foundation is. They might want people to understand their plight and understand what's happening to them. Let's have a clear understanding, a picture of the level of infrastructural damage and the level of humanitarian abuse that's currently ongoing in southern Cameroon.
Currently, as I speak, homes are being invaded by troops from French Cameroon, and they are causing carnage. It's a genocide that is going on in Cameroon, in southern Cameroon as I speak, and the military breaking into homes and seizing people's collars, machetes, farming tools, boots, and calling them terrorists and dragging them in mud, shooting and amputating their bodies, killing, maiming, raping, terrorizing, and yet calling them terrorists. This has led to more than 40,000 refugees. Only Nigeria is recording more than 25,000 as at the moment from the report of the UNHCR. But we are not counting others that have fled to other countries.
What other countries have people been fleeing to?
We have some that have gone to the USA, some have gone to Togo, to other neighboring countries, some go to Benin, some don't only come to Nigeria.
Are they going there as asylum seekers?
Well, they are just fleeing.
They are not registered.
Well, you know, some of them don't even know the existence of the UNHCR. It is some of us who have come here. Myself, I didn't know it. When I got here, I had to identify myself and find my way to the office, UN office, because I know about the protection of the UNHCR.
Have other governments in other countries had to set up some form of security strategy system to handle refugees from Cameroon?
Well, we have Nigeria.
Besides Nigeria?
Besides Nigeria, I don't think of any other government that has done it, because the people that, majority of the people happen to be in Nigeria. I think so.
Two major districts that have been affected are here is Akwaya and Eyumajok. Why has the government clamped down heavily on these two towns?
Well, the people of Akwaya and Eyumajok, they have suffered so much because they are the people that know the real history, and they have been terrorized the most. You know, people have different culture, and they know to other cultures, you can kill somebody and get away with it. To others, you can't do that. So those are the people who want to stand for their right. And they think, and I think that it is their right to stand for their right.
September 28th, the Umfom border was closed. Has it been reopened?
Not for the moment.
It still remains closed?
Yes.
Official records say it was supposed to be closed for 72 hours.
It is still closed up to today.
What impact is that having on free movement?
Well, of course, economic impact. You know, Southern Cameroon depended on so much on the trade between Nigeria and Cameroon, where most of the traders and business people move goods, people moving in and out and making the economy go. So as it is at the moment, such activities are not going on, and the economy of Southern Cameroon has been suffering. The people don't even have food to eat. They have been deprived of everything that is necessary for their existence.
Would you say there is a civil war, or would you say there is a genocide?
It's a genocide, sir.
There is no armed resistance, no formed armed resistance in Southern Cameroon.
These people are armless people. The people of Southern Cameroon are peace-loving people. They have been enduring for more than 56 years in this whole mess up that they find themselves in. And I want to say that if they were not peace-loving people, they wouldn't have been able to resist the maiming, the torture, the arbitrary killing of their citizens for this period of time.
How are migrants who are trying to get into Nigeria but are stranded at the Umfom border, which I hear is a gate across the bridge, how are they surviving? Do you have any feedback from such migrants, or have they all been able to cross?
Some of them have managed to make their way through the sea. They swim, some swim and cross, and some go through terrible means in order to find themselves safe protection in Nigeria. So some are still in forests and without food to eat. I think a lady just delivered in a twin in the forest, and they didn't have even clothes to wear and whatever. You can imagine in such a situation that you are running away for safety, and you find yourself and your wife has to put to bed in a forest, no water, nothing. But we thank God that the lady is alive and the children. So God has a way to handle such situations.
So I hear are you saying right now that the economy of Southern Cameroon is lost, is dead, is non-existent?
There is nothing going on. The people are suffering. The people don't even have food to eat. Everyone in Southern Cameroon is looking for an escape route. They have implemented a state of emergency that nobody moves, no business has to go, and everything is just like that. While they are cracking down, they say they want to crack down on terrorists. Who are these terrorists? The people are called terrorists because of their identity. Because they are Southern Cameroonians, they haven't committed any crime against the government. They only stand to tell the government that we are Southern Cameroonians.
So how are they feeding? Is humanitarian aid coming into Southern Cameroon?
At the moment, you know, Southern Cameroon has been deprived of so many things for a long time. And so most of the families have the relations that have flee from their country, and they are doing well in other countries around the world. Somehow they're trying to get back to provide humanitarian assistance to family members and others that they found in need.
Can they send money through the banks, or is it in kind?
Well,
foodstuff and supports like that?
Yes, sometimes they send even money, and sometimes they send foodstuff, clothes, and medical accessories and all of that.
From the picture you paint, are the markets open? Because you paint a picture of utter destruction. So where are they buying the foodstuffs from?
Well, I would say that when the economy is bad, those who are doing the farming, cultivating the crops, they actually find a way to make sure that others that do not have the opportunity to cultivate. So the markets hold maybe in few days in a week.
In 2015, you addressed the rally, the Peace Solidarity movement, marking 129th year of the International Labour Day. And you urged your workers, quoting some phrases from you here, you said they should contribute to the economy by remaining united as one people in one nation. And you said, or you have said, that you and your leaders are amongst those who began this struggle. When did you have this radical change from telling workers to work as one nation to telling workers not to come to work anymore?
Thank you so much. I think that you're right. Unity of a people is not a physical thing, or is not a theoretical thing. It's a practical thing. And when you are forging for unity, peace, and love amongst a people, and you realize at some point that that unity cannot hold because of greed of some leaders who think that they want to suppress, they want to kill, they want to continue to kill and maim people, who do not allow others to have a voice to opinion. or to speak out their minds, I think that is not the kind of society we want to build. We want to build a society where there is peace, there is love, there is true unity, and not unity under suppression.
But you've been marginalized, according to you, for over 56 years. Why did you suddenly decide that, no, workers, you guys can't be peaceful anymore?
We didn't decide this position.
How did the position come about?
Okay. Recently in 2016, the lawyers agitated for a change in the legal system that were being implemented in the Southern Cameroonian English-speaking territory.
Was it a peaceful agitation?
Yes, very peaceful. So they were ignored for more than a month until I had, and the teachers also came up with agitation, peaceful agitation, that their educational system is being transformed to a system whereby French lecturers are the ones now teaching English students, and the students don't even understand it. And so they had been...
Please, let's take that again. French lecturers,
yes,
are lecturing
and teachers,
and teachers,
yes,
are lecturing and teaching English students. In what language?
They pretend to speak English language, and they actually are teaching in French. They don't even understand the English language. But
what happened to the English teachers and lecturers? Were they sacked?
The English teachers, they are not given the opportunity to teach their own students. It was the same thing with the legal system. All the magistrates were doing, were passing judgments on another legal system. For instance, in Cameroon, we have the French legal system is the civil legal system, while we have the common law legal system. So the civil law legal system are the ones overriding the common law legal system in the Southern Cameroon.
Explain how that happened in teaching, in the educational sector in Southern Cameroon.
Okay. The educational system in Southern Cameroon, the government had a program to eradicate the common educational, English educational values. And that is why they brought in their French teachers to teach subjects like chemistry, subjects like history, like mathematics, subjects that the children will not even understand what they are saying. And this was so terrible until the teachers' trade union executive stood up and questioned the authority of the government for causing such a situation in the educational system. The government did not respond. That is why, in my capacity as the trade union leader, I had to, first of all, notify the government of the situation. And I told Mr. Biya that there was a dark cloud in Cameroon. And I gave him a date according to the international laws that if he does not redress the situation, I was going to declare a general strike action. And the time elapsed and Mr. Biya did not take any action. That is why I went ahead on the 9th of November and I declared the general strike action involving all other sectors of the economy of the whole of Southern Cameroon to join the teachers and the lawyers to make sure that the government redress all the issues. So saying that we drastically move, it was the failure of this dialogue between the people of Southern Cameroon and the government that led to the drastic decision whereby we had always been preaching unity, peace and love to the current position where the people, remember, as a leader, you can only act according to the directions of the people. When the people say we are not comfortable, we don't like what is going on, and you shoot them, you kill them, and the people now take another decision. Will you, as a leader, take a contrary decision? No. You have to speak the people's mind. That is the reason why you're made leader. So the people of Southern Cameroon have henceforth taken another stance to say we want to dialogue with you to make the country to be a better country. But today, we are taking another decision that we want to be on our own as a state, because we were two separate entities that had the desire to be together.
We will come to the two separate entities soon.
Okay.
Let's get people to understand the drastic changes that happened in the law and education sectors of the Cameroonian economy. Are you saying that these lawyers and teachers were disenfranchised, were taking off their workload? That means they didn't have anything to do. They could not go to court, they could not go to schools because their services were no longer needed due to these changes.
Well,
because they can't go to French Cameroon to go and teach. They can't teach English, teach these things in English, or practice law, civil law in French-speaking parts of Cameroon. You are saying they were disenfranchised?
Actually, you are right to say that they were disenfranchised. They were, the people, the lawyers, couldn't sit and watch the people of Southern Cameroon being judged by French judges that do not even understand how the legal system of the people of Southern Cameroon works. The same with the teachers could not sit to see their educational system that is supposed to produce people that are there to make the economy vibrant, to derail that path of their education system by introducing the French educational system. And so they had no other option but to call the government of Mr. Biya to come to the table for dialogue, and which they failed. And that is why the teachers union now joined with all other unions and civil society organizations of the Southern Cameroons to create an organization called the Consortium of Southern Cameroon's Civil Society Movement.
Interesting. Take us through the journey of actions that the Consortium of Southern Cameroon's movement has had from November 2016 till date.
Actually, when the consortium came into existence in November, we actually made sure that the economy of Southern Cameroon was grounded in order to call government to negotiation. When the government started negotiating with the teachers and lawyers, they didn't do that in good faith, because we thought that the discussions were going to be a frank dialogue. A frank dialogue means that they will resolve the current issues to make sure that subsequently we won't be able to have the issues occurring again. The government failed because the consortium realized that the only way to get out of the situation and out of the current crisis was to implement a federal system of government. And that was the reason why the government didn't want to listen to whoever wanted to challenge the government to propose a federal system of government. And the leader of the consortium, my fellow comrade Agbo Bala, was arrested. And the Secretary General, Dr. Fontem Neba, they were arrested. And all of us who were signatory leaders to the consortium were supposed to be arrested. We now after they arrested them and they were looking for us, we went underground and we gave interim leadership of the consortium to some of our comrades abroad while we were in the hiding. And that is what has led us, the consortium, to continue to exercise its powers even while we were in hiding. Now, this consortium, when they arrested the leaders, the government thought that when they will arrest all of us, that is where they are going to kill the consortium and kill the movement and continue to suppress the people. But God did not allow that to happen, because some of us actually went underground and found ourselves here in Nigeria, where I am right now. And the consortium is still alive, and the consortium has henceforth taken another decision because of the decision of the people. Remember, the consortium only have a voice of the people. Whatever the people decide is what the consortium is implementing. And as we are at the moment, I say that without mixing words. As a leader, we only represent the interests of the people. The people of Southern Cameroon have henceforth said they have a right to an identity.
In 2 minutes, tell us what has happened to the leaders now that went underground. Is it only these 2 leaders that have been arrested?
Some of them were arrested. And some of us knew the fate after the leaders were arrested, so we went underground. And some of us are here in Nigeria.
Have you been able to make delegations to the United Nations, to the Nigerian Cameroon Mixed Commission, to other regional bodies?
Yes, we have met with, I think the leadership has met. Southern Cameroons now have various leaders. On the 1st of October, where genocide started in Southern Cameroons, where helicopters were flying in the air and shooting people, peaceful Southern Cameroonians with peace plans in their hands. All over the territory of Southern Cameroon, the people were celebrating their independence. They said, today, the 1st of October, is the day we restore the independence of our territory, the Southern Cameroons. And in all the villages, the people came out with their peace plans. And the government, using its military, the military helicopters in the air, shooting at peaceful protesters, peaceful people, celebrating their independence, dancing with their traditional dances, and celebrating. They're shooting them in all the territory. We
could deduce that you aggravated the government, but tell us what you've done, what connections you've had with regional bodies, the Economic Community of Central Africa, the United Nations, the Nigerian Cameroon Mixed Commission, other bilateral agencies. Have you made delegations to them, and what's their official stance?
Well, we have actually made a delegation to the United Nations, and I think that the Secretary General to the United Nations made a visit to Cameroon a few weeks back, which the reason for the outcome of the meeting we don't yet know. But the United Nations has issued various communiques calling for frank dialogue between the government and the people of Southern Cameroon, which the government of La République du Cameroon has vehemently denied to implement a platform for such a dialogue to take place. We have sent our appeal to the African Union to look into the crisis, and till now we haven't had a response to that. We have met with other organizations, civil organizations, and we have tried to see possibilities to meet with the Nigerian government to dialogue and see how we can pave and find real solutions to these problems that are plaguing the southern Cameroons and Africa.
Finally, tell us how the refugees in Nigeria are being catered to. How is there a coordinated effort? Has it been, are they fine? Are they secure? Do they feel secure?
Well, the fact that they are out of, out from a zone that has been terrorized, a zone that genocide is currently occurring in, I think that they feel safe to start with. There has been no response from the African Union with regards to our crisis. Well, the African Union, as we speak at the moment, I think is a toothless BullDog, because genocide cannot be happening in Africa, and the African Union is silent about the whole issue. Nobody is talking about it, and yet people are dying by the day. I think this was an opportunity for the African Union to hold an emergency meeting to redress the crises that are occurring in Africa at the moment. But the African Union doesn't seem to be functional. So we're calling for all other African Union leaders, other African leaders of goodwill to come to the aid. And Nigeria set an example in the past with Liberia, where the president of Nigeria actually mobilized and put an end to the crisis that existed in Liberia. And equally, we think that African leaders of goodwill should come on board and see how amongst us Africans we can look and be one another's keeper in order to resolve the conflicts that exist in our African countries. Mr. Biya is not, they make Mr. Biya look like he's a lion in Africa, and they kill people, and Africa leaders have not responded.